Today is April 25th, 2025. This is Read Through the Bible.
Hi, everyone.
And we've come to a new book.
We are in a new book. It's exciting.
Yeah. So we just finished the book of Leviticus. And if you listen in the morning, you may have missed our Leviticus Recap special episode where yesterday afternoon, we dropped the episode where it speaks about an overview of Leviticus.
Right. So really helpful just to look back over what we've read in Leviticus, review the main points of it, and even think through some useful ways that Leviticus helps us understand the rest of the Bible.
Yeah, we did that with Matthew and got some good feedback on that. So we're going to try to do that with every book of the Bible we finish.
Yeah.
But today we are in Numbers, and if you're curious about why are we in Numbers after Leviticus, I posted in the show notes just a schedule for you if you want to print that out, or if you just kind of lay along with us. We're going to read the Old Testament, and then after Numbers we're going to go to the New Testament again with the book of Mark. And then we'll come back to Deuteronomy, just kind of bouncing back and forth as we work our way through the Bible. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got to orient ourselves a little bit to Numbers.
Right.
Okay, Numbers, what does Numbers mean?
Well, so there are times where so think back, we are in the wilderness right now. They are moving from Egypt to the Promised Land. Mm-hmm. And basically we left them in Exodus 19 at Mount Sinai.
And since then, there's just been laws.
Right, which have all been given at Mount Sinai.
Yep.
So that's where
the second half of Exodus and all of Leviticus are all just laws.
Yeah.
But now we pick up the history again.
Right.
From Mount Sinai.
Yep. And so I guess it's important to count how many people there are.
Yep.
So we need to get the numbers.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what Numbers is about.
Right. So they take a census and count all the people.
And that's what we're going to see here just today. We're going to read the census of the people. In chapter 1 is going to be, and in chapter 26 is going to be another census.
Right.
And that other census is going to come because of chapter 13 and 14. Bad news.
Right.
It's when the people of Israel fail to believe in the Lord and they reject what God has said. And God says, you're all going to die in the wilderness. The Hebrew name for Numbers is in the wilderness, Bamidbar. It's right there in Numbers chapter 1, verse 1. The Hebrew words for all of the books of the Pentateuch are just the first word of the book, and it's in the wilderness. Yeah, and so they're going to wander in the wilderness for 40 years until the generation dies off, and they're going to have another generation census in chapter 26. That's where the numbers come from.
Right.
You can see a lot of numbers in that.
Yep.
And then as they wander, we're going to take it to the precipice of entering the Promised Land.
Right. So geographically, the book of Numbers takes us from Mount Sinai to the Promised Land.
Yep.
And then chronologically, it's going to take about 40 years.
Yeah. And like one of the things, a lot of Numbers are going to be filled with a lot of familiar stories, as you know. Mm-hmm. And I think by way of application, 1 Corinthians chapter 10 gives us a good application, good perspective about the disobedience of the people of Israel in the wilderness.
Yeah, because most of Numbers really is going to be filled with a lot of disobedience.
Yep. And so we get to 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 11. Now these things happened to them, the Israelites, as an example, but they're written down for our instruction, on whom the end of the ages has come. Therefore, let anyone who thinks he stands take heed lest he fall.
Yeah, so yes, this is important to know for history's sake, but it's not just a history of the Jewish people. Here in 1 Corinthians 10, it specifically tells us that it is written as an example for us, for our instruction. Yep. That we don't read this and say, oh, well, look at those rebellious Jewish people. We should not...
I wouldn't be like that.
Right. And verse 12 says... let anyone who thinks that he stands take heed lest he fall.
Yep.
So
right. Well, we just got to get the book of Numbers. That's kind of a quick overview. We'll be reviewing these things over and over again. But here's the first census in Numbers chapter 1. Just again, don't sweat the small stuff. This is the census of the ESV says a census of Israel's warriors. Right, those 20 years up and old and upward, able to go out to war. Okay, the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of meeting, on the first day of the second month, in the second year, after they had come out of the land of Egypt. This takes us back to chapter 19 of Exodus, saying, take a census of all the congregation of the people of Israel by clans, by fathers' houses, according to the number of the names, every male head by head, from 20 years old and upward, all in Israel who were able to go out to war. You and Aaron shall list them, company by company, and there shall be with you a man from each tribe, each man being the head of the house of his fathers. And these are the names of the men who shall assist you. From Reuben, Eliezer, the son of Shadur. From Simeon, Shalumiel, the son of Jerushadai. And if we miss the words, we're reading it, not you. And we'll just... From Judah, Nashon, the son of Amminadab. From Issachar, Nethanel, the son of Zuar. From Zebulun, Eliab, from the son of Helon. From the sons of Joseph, from Ephraim, Elishama, the son of Ammihud. And from Manasseh, Gamaliel, the son of Padahuzar. From Benjamin, Abidan, the son of Gideoni. From Dan, Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai. From Asher, Pagiel, the son of Ochran. From Gad, Elishaphat, the son of Duel. From Naphtali, Ahira, the son of Enan. These were the ones, and here's the key, right? These were the ones chosen from the congregation, the chiefs of their ancestral tribes, the heads of the clans of Israel. So somehow just these... One guy was picked from each of the tribe to be like a chief.
Right. And if those names all sounded like gibberish, there should have been some that stood out. Yep. All the sons of Jacob were all listed there, except for Levi.
Yep.
Okay, so anyway, verse 17. Moses and Aaron took these men who had been named, and on the first day of the second month, they assembled the whole congregation together, who registered themselves by clans, by fathers' houses, according to the number of names from 20 years old and upward, head by head. As the Lord commanded Moses, so he listed them in the wilderness of Sinai.
The people of Reuben, Israel's firstborn, their generations by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, head by head, every male from 20 years old and upward, all who were able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Reuben were 46,500.
Of the people of Simeon, by their generations, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, those of them who were listed according to the number of names, head by head, every male from 20 years old and upward, all who were able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Simeon were 59,300.
Of the people of Gad, their generations, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of their names, from 20 years old and upward, all who were able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Gad were 45,650.
Of the people of Judah, their generations, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, every man able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Judah were 74,600.
Of the people of Issachar, their generations, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of the names, from the 20 years old and upward, every man able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Issachar were 54,400.
Of the people of Zebulun, their generations, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, every male able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Zebulun were 57,400.
By the way, each of these tribes, like we talked before about the sons of Jacob. If you know the sons of Jacob, then all these names are super familiar. The sons of Jacob are
Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. Maybe we can put the song in the show notes?
We'll put the song in the show notes, absolutely. So we're on verse 30 here with Zebulun, is that right? Did you read Zebulun?
I think I read Zebulun.
Of the people of Joseph, namely of the people of Ephraim, their generations by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, every man able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Ephraim were 40,500.
Of the people of Manasseh, so he's the other son of Joseph, their generations, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, every man able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Manasseh were 32,200.
Of the people of Benjamin, their generations, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, every man able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Benjamin were 35,400.
Of the people of Dan, their generations, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, every man able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Dan were 62,700.
Of the people of Asher, their generations, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, every man able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Asher were 41,500.
Of the people of Naphtali, their generations, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and upward, every man able to go to war. Those listed of the tribe of Naphtali were 53,400.
These are those who were listed, whom Moses and Aaron listed with the help of the chiefs of Israel, 12 men, each representing his father's house. So all those listed of the people of Israel, by their fathers' houses, from 20 years old and upward, every man able to go to war in Israel, all those listed were 603,550. Okay, so we've got a lot of numbers here because this is a census of the 12 tribes of Israel. And if you would add up all those numbers we did, I think, as I remember, the math works out exactly right. 600,000, and these are men able to go out to war.
Right.
So let's just think about that.
20 years old and upward.
Yep. And so these are then about that number of women and maybe that many children. And then you got older and younger. So we're talking over 2 million people, probably, that we're talking
Easy.
people in Israel. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Now, the Levites were not counted because...
Right, because of the sons of Jacob, the 11 became tribes, and then the Levites were distributed throughout.
Yep.
Okay, verse 47. But the Levites were not listed along with them by their ancestral tribe. For the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Only the tribe of Levi you shall not list, and you shall not take a census of them among the people of Israel. But appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of the testimony, and over all its furnishings, and over all that belongs to it. They are to carry the tabernacle and all its furnishings, and they shall take care of it, and shall camp around the tabernacle. When the tabernacle is to set out, the Levites shall take it down. And when the tabernacle is to be pitched, the Levites shall set it up. And if any outsider comes near, he shall be put to death. The people of Israel shall pitch their tents by their companies, each man in his own camp, and each man by his own standard. But the Levites shall camp around the tabernacle of the testimony, so that there may be no wrath on the congregation of the people of Israel. And the Levites shall keep guard over the tabernacle of the testimony. Thus did the people of Israel. They did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses."
Okay, so if we're looking for a summary here, this is a census of those able to go out to war. And not the Levites.
Right.
Okay, so you can just even put it something simple like that. The Levites are in charge of the tent and the tabernacle, and everyone else is ready to go out to war. About 2 million, maybe.
Yeah. I was just thinking, even though there's a lot of details here, I'm thankful we don't have all the names listed. That'd be really long.
That would take a long time to read. All right, that sounds good, and we will see you tomorrow in the Psalms.
Okay, goodbye.